Hi, everyone. I'm Adriana Monique Alvarez, the CEO and founder of Alma Publishing, and we are back for the So Much More Stories series. And today you are in for a treat. I am here with Barbie Layton. Hi, Barbie. How are you?
Great. Nice to be here. Thank you, Adriana.
Absolutely. So, first off, tell us where in the world you're joining us from.
I'm here in sunny California.
Sweet. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am an energy healer consultant. I help CEOs and individuals to be able to help fall in love with themselves, reanimate their dreams, and become the VIPs of their own lives based on my own story as well.
Mm. And I know that you have a powerful story to tell today. Is there anyone that you would like to dedicate this to?
I would like to dedicate it to my Oma. May she rest in peace. Who my nickname when I was little was Oma Sunshine. So I'd like to dedicate it
Oh,
to her.
beautiful. Well, I would love to hear your story.
Thank you. Well, I would like to start off with thanking our audience for tuning in. And ultimately, I would like to kind of rekindle the idea of fairy tales because we have this idea that fairy tales are just these, fictitious things. I know that the Brothers Grimm started out with those to ultimately it was to scare children from going outside in the middle of the night so that they didn't get wandered and get stuck out in the dark in the Bavarian mountains. And ultimately, one of my favorite stories is the Ugly Duckling, because ultimately I feel like in a lot of ways that represents a lot of what my story is about. And ultimately, it's one of those things of where it's a very, very strange thing that you have the opportunity when you're little to be able to kind of figure out whether or not you're going to conform, whether or not you're going to stick out. And ultimately, I know there's something called the tall poppy syndrome of where people have this concept that if they're all in the same row, you take the top one and you just chop it off because it doesn't fit in with the other ones. But ultimately, the story is that when you have an opportunity to be able to be special, and everybody's special, everybody's terminally unique, everybody has something very special about them that's completely different. However, we get molded and shaped like this jar of clay, this opportunity of where you are you going to basically be, it's like making Christmas cookies where you roll out the sugar cookie dough and you're rolling it out and you decide, is it going to be a reindeer? Is it going to be a snowflake? Is it going to be a Santa Claus? What is it going to be? And each one of those cookies is going to taste completely different based on the shape that it is. But one of the things that happens is the fact that for me, most of my life, people never really wanted me to be myself. It was always like, you need to conform, you need to be like everybody else. Why can't you just be, et cetera, et cetera? Or who do you think that you are? Or why do you think that you can do this, et cetera? So I've always been a big thinker. And one of the things that I love is the fact that I really feel that the generosity is one of the most important things in the world. And it's something over to me. I was one of those people that I would get my allowance. And I was so excited to get my allowance. And I'd go out and buy everybody an ice cream. And I'd say, oh, everybody, let's share some ice cream or some candy. But then when it would be time when they had allowance and I didn't, I'd say, oh, are we going to go get ice cream? No. Well, why not? That doesn't make any sense. And so a lot of times in the world, we get all of these messages when we're little, all these little messages that tell us that you're not okay. You need to do this. You need to be able to be in a different place. This is where ultimately I feel that the most important thing for everybody to find their own superpower is the fact that to me, I wasn't a duck. And that's the part about the story that I absolutely love is the fact that technically I'm a swan. And it doesn't mean a swan is any better than a duck. It just means the fact that that's that impetus that we have within ourselves. It's that hot, white, burning desire to be able to find out, to be able to be comfortable with ourselves. I mean, even wearing my hair in the sense of where it's the natural gray, etc. It's something of where it's me, but it's something of where a lot of times I play with other things. There's nothing that tells you that just because you're an adult that you have to stop being in play. Play is actually one of the most exciting generative frequencies that you can be in the universe. It's so exciting to be able to be in play and to think to yourself of like, ooh, and then I have this idea, and then ooh, I have that idea, and then I can talk to this person, I can connect this person, and oh, and then this, and then this, and then this. And then when you see all these wonderful things that are in this childlike wonder, you can still stay in that no matter how old you are. You don't have to get to a point of where you're in the static space. But that's where you find even like the tale of Hollywood. Hollywood is a lot of like the one or two outcast people who were considered to be the most beautiful, the most talented, the most whatever, and they didn't fit into their little towns. And people oftentimes were jealous. I know one of my idols, Christina Aguilera, she won Star Search when she was little, when she grew up in Pennsylvania, and people treated her horribly because of it. And as a result, it was something that really still stuck with her in adult life because of the fact that those were the things that she'd experienced as a child. But she's so talented. And I'm so grateful that she persevered and decided to go find her swans. And because of the fact that she was able to sing that song in Mulan and hit that one high note, she started an entire career for herself. She's now, a mega star internationally, etc. But it's that type of thing. To me, it's like, it's the exciting part of life is the opportunity to be able to go and find out, where are you going to go find your swans? Where are you going to go find your tribe? Where are you going to go find your people? And have that opportunity to the point of when you find them, you have this feeling of, ah. And I heard your story talking about Albania and Africa and all the different things that you experienced. And it's those type of things of where when you have that opportunity, I did the same thing. I lived on 3 different continents, including the United States. Travel to me is one of the most beautiful things that allows you to play because you have to be out of your comfort zone all the time. And so I was an exchange student, my third year of high school in Southern Austria, in a place where no one spoke English. But I found out that all the bullying that I experienced before wasn't me. I walked into a brand new situation. I was no longer in a small town. Everybody loved me. Everybody loved me because of the fact that I didn't have any baggage. There weren't any stories that were a part of this old place. And then in 1995, I was engaged at the time, and I thought I was crazy, but I ended up teaching English in South Korea in 1995, 1996, in the interior of Korea, where there was no technology there. Nobody spoke English. So that was an opportunity for me to be able to see that when you step out of your comfort zone and you go find your swans, you literally invigorate yourself, and then you have an opportunity to reinvent who you are, and then you challenge yourself, and then you can stay in your authenticity. And once you've found your authenticity and you step into your power, no one can take it away from you. So with that, I just want to encourage your audience. I hope that you go out and find your swans. Go find the people that are going to love you, that are going to accept you. They're going to think that you're the most amazing person ever. Because guess what? You have something really special to offer the world. And the world needs more people to be able to step into their truth of who they are. And if we did that, I think the world would be so much better.
Oh, so true, Barbie. So true. Finding our swans. And I love how you said when you went as a foreign exchange student, you experienced something completely different than you did in your own small town. And that is what's available when we're willing to step out. I love that you had this whole story smashed, right? Because everything in our mind would tell us, oh, no, but if they don't like me, if they don't accept me, if they don't get me, no one can. And yet you saw that that wasn't true. Tell me where else you like to share your story. Do you also like to share on summits, podcasts? Tell me a little bit about that.
I love to do it all. So I am an international best-selling author with you in the Women Gone Wild Wealth edition, which is absolutely stunningly beautiful. Yes, we are book sisters for life, which I absolutely love. And people, yes, for podcasts, summits, conferences, having the opportunity to be able to be in front of different audiences of where I'm considered a presence healer and a galactic cheerleader. I love coming into businesses and firing everybody up and getting people excited to be able to be intentional in their work, but to also find that thing that makes them really special too, because ultimately everybody has that in them. And it's sometimes we just have to have somebody outside of us. Even coaches need coaches, and people who, hairdressers still need someone else to cut their hair.
So true. Now, I know you have been featured in a lot of media. Do you want to share a little bit about that and, what inspired you to go down that path? How did all of this happen?
So for me, basically the pandemic, I had a chronic illness that I was diagnosed with in 2016. And to me, that was my pandemic. And I'd had this big life, in a lot of ways, a lot of travel and different things, and everything got really, really small. So cut to the 2020 time, I just realized the fact that we didn't know if the world was going to end or whether or not we were going to be okay or not. And I just decided, you know what? It's either or. What am I willing to die for? What am I willing to live for? What am I willing to do? And I just realized the sense of where it's like, if I had good perfume or I had good china or I had good this or good that, we're always saving those for special occasions and different things like that. So instead I started saying, I need to use my perfume. Like if I don't use it and it's a pandemic, all these people around us were perishing. I mean, it was a really, really awful time for this planet. And ultimately, so I just decided I'm going to push myself into all these different spaces of where I'm going to focus on personal growth. And I was in Mind Valley. I was in Vishen Lakhiani's premium coaching. There were 30 of us. It was the most amazing thing because he was just figuring it out with us all at the same time. So we had his undivided attention, every month to be able to kind of, stream of consciousness. And then from there, it just ended up being of where I really just kept saying yes to the universe, and over and over and over. And all these beautiful things started coming. And then I was on podcasts, I was on summits, I was on different things. And obviously all those things were virtual, but I was in the Best You Expo in 2020, in August 2020. And I was on the side stage, like literally no credibility. Nobody knew who I was. And then January of 2021, I'm on main stage with Ken Honda and Lisa Nichols, which, they're major headliners internationally. And it just continued that every place that I was saying yes to, I would get invited to different circles. But then I'd come into these different circles and then I was like, oh yeah, I know you. Oh yeah, I know you. Oh yeah, I know you. Hey, how's it going? Et cetera, et cetera. And so everything I did was literally just following my inner guidance to be able to figure it out. I still don't have Instagram. I didn't do all the social proof and all the ways that people normally do it. But it was so miraculous that I was still in that childlike wonder and suspending disbelief. And then realizing that as an energy healer, I mean, I've had some actually miraculous testimonials. I just got one from a lady who had to flee from Ukraine and she couldn't focus on her work. And it was really, really terrible. And she just gave me a video testimonial that her whole life has shifted over. And now she's back in a flow. And I mean, to be able to do that for someone with a 30-minute energy healing session, I just feel so blessed and so honored to be able to help people that way. So that really fires me up. That gets me super excited and filled with joy. And then, as you know, we had our entire USA book launch. We were in Las Vegas and Los Angeles, and then we were on 4 billboards sharing it with Kim Kardashian on 48th and Broadway, but the wings of the Coca-Cola stack of Times Square billboards. I mean, it was just like, completely surreal to be able to think about the fact. And this is what I call quantum leaping. It's like we're quantum leaping because I don't have anything of this having happened in my past to be able to go forward with it. Just like for yourself. I mean, you just got featured in Forbes, which is absolutely amazing. Go Adriana. And it's the kind of thing of where it's like when you have these new experiences, it makes life juicier, it makes it more exciting. So yes, it's been really, really amazing to be in demand in that sense, but it's also because I bring a certain vibration that's very different and very unique. And that's the part about just being me and showing up to be me, to be able to help other people to say, you get to be you.
Yes, that's it, right? Because when you can do it for yourself, you can unlock it in others because it gives us that ability to go, oh yes, look, Barbie's doing it.
Yep.
Barbie's embodying that. She's good with her. She's completely accepting who she is and celebrating it. And then boom, it unlocks it.
It's huge. And it's literally, I mean, I'm still a work in progress. There's nothing about me that's perfect. And I'm not running around there telling everybody that I am, but it's still when you're in process and you can also inspire other people. I think that's what we need in this world right now. We need to be inspired. We need to have something else. It's not Netflix and it's not just the humdrum of whatever, et cetera. And people are craving connection. And that's something of where when you can feel someone else's vibration, when you connect with them, even on a Zoom call, et cetera, or a StreamYard, et cetera, it's miraculous because it's not just the, talking heads, et cetera, et cetera. It's like this real connection. I mean, I feel like I'm sitting in the living room with you right now.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know. It's like I could talk to you forever, but I love what you said when you realized what was going on in the world. You realized what was in front of you. I have something inside of me. I have a gift inside of me. I have perfume inside of me. What am I going to do with this? What would you say to the person who that is still trapped inside of them and they haven't yet moved on that? What would you say to that person?
I would say the very first thing, I went from the side stage to the main stage in less than 6 months due to fan feedback. And it was specifically because I focused on extreme gratitude. When you think everything sucks and you have all this stuff inside of you and you want to share it, you need to get down to the brass tacks. You need to thank the fact that you've got a bed. You thank the fact that you've got a stove. I just took a shower and I blessed my shower. I thanked my bath products. I thanked, my hair dryer. It's like, I know that sounds really silly, but if you thank the internet company that's keeping your internet on and you're thanking the cable company, and every time that you pay a bill that you're being in gratitude for that, gratitude is the frequency that helps you to be able to stick to the sense of where when you're going like, thank you stove that you're cooking my food, thank you refrigerator, thank you, DoorDash person that brought my delivery of my groceries, etc. 300, the Native Americans say that 300 people, 300 hands touched your food or whatever it was to bring it to your table. I bless all of those people backwards, and I thank them because they did it to feed their families or out of love or whatever reason it was for them to be able to perform and do that. The truck driver, the grower, the rancher, whomever it was. So if you go from there, I had people email me and tell me that that almost like saved their lives during the pandemic because things were so horrible. But when you're stacking all these little things that you're not even thinking about, that you're completely taking for granted. Oh my God, I'm sitting on a couch. Thank you for this couch. Thank you for this. Getting into that, it's like somatic mindfulness of where you're like, okay, I just thought of 20 things that I'm grateful for that are supporting me in this moment at this very second. And then it's like, oh, okay, take a breath. And then from there, you can say, okay, I have this beautiful vision inside of me. I have a book inside of me. I have a play inside of me, etc. I saw your one woman show. That was awesome. It's like, it's like just having that courage to just say, hey, I want to do this event and I want to be able to share my life with people. And I talk to people about the fact that you need to face it, embrace it, and replace it. Because ultimately it's like, you can't just sweep it under the rug and pretend it's not there. Again, I have my own personal problems and I don't just pretend that they're not there, but still facing it, embracing it, and then also replacing it with something else. And so therefore it's like sometimes just those little tiny things, and sometimes it's hour to hour, sometimes it's minute to minute. Having had a chronic illness, oh my God, I was oftentimes such an excruciating pain. It was like, please just let me get through this hour. Please just let me get through this. Thank you for letting me get through this hour. So gratitude to me is that frequency that unlocks it all.
And Barbie, you are such a bright light. I've been with you on calls. I walked with you, through this book process. And you're a person who contributes every time you show up. You do not sit in the back row. You do not take, you contribute, and you make it a better space. Thank you so much for making the decision, for stepping out, for being courageous, and for loving life. You are a gift to us all.
Thank you. So are you.
Thank you. How can people connect with you?
So I have a website, barbielayton.com. And I would love I do one-on-ones. And I also have a course where I help people it's the group course to be able to allow themselves to clear their core wound and be able to reset their frequency on a daily basis. So that's the infinity.life. So those are the two places that they can. And I'm coming out with a course that's been downloaded in the last 10 years, which is how the universe communicates with you. And I haven't seen anybody put that out there, but it's something I'm really divinely inspired to share. So that's to be, it's coming out probably within the next month. So I'm super excited to share that with people because that can really, really affect the ability for people to figure out how to navigate their life in a way that they haven't ever considered before.
Beautiful. And there's not a better time. This is the time to join forces and dance with life and the universe to fulfill your soul's calling. You're born for such a time as this. Barbie, thank you so much for sharing yourself today. Thank you all for joining us. Until next time, what can you be grateful for? We are so blessed. Bye.